So I have opened the lid of this RO cabinet, and this is power supply. This plug is for power supply, and a power supply comes in SMPS where AC current gets converted into DC current, and current is required for working of some parts of RO, like this diaphragm, solenoid valve, low pressure switch, and UV choke. And then water. Uh, this is the mains water supply. I have disconnected the pipe from which water goes inside RO. This is the SS control valve or ball valve. This is the pipe. Now, water from this pipe, water goes inside this RO cabinet, and this pipe, it goes inside this inline sediment filter. Water through this pipe, water goes inside this inline sediment filter, and from here it comes in this low pressure switch or LPS. Function of LPS is to check water pressure. If water pressure is very low, then LPS will not allow water to go inside inline sediment filter. So inline sediment filter keeps on checking. Like here you can see water comes from here, goes inside, and some part of water goes here where water pressure is checked. And then from inline sediment filter, if we come here, water goes inside this solenoid valve. Function of solenoid valve is to check power supply. If power supply is on only, then this solenoid valve will let the RO work. And from here water goes inside this booster pump or diaphragm, and from diaphragm or booster pump, water goes inside this inline carbon filter or pre-carbon filter, and from here water will come out and go in two directions. One part will go in this RO membrane, and other part will go in this TDS control valve or needle, from where we set the TDS, and from here it will, and from here water will go inside TDS control valve, and from here it will come out and go inside UF membrane, ultrafiltration membrane. Now in this TDS control valve, if we move it clockwise, TDS will reduce. If we move it anti-clockwise, TDS will increase. And from this UV ultrafiltration, water will go in this UV chamber, and from RO membrane, water will come out in two directions. One will go inside this UV chamber, and other will go out as a residual water. And this is the FRT or flow restrictor tube, and through this pipe residual water will come out. And from UV lamp, water will come out from here and will go inside this post carbon filter. This is the post carbon, and from post carbon it will go inside this water tank via this non-return valve. This is the non-return valve. So here I am going to draw a map of Kent Grand RO parts assembled inside Kent Grand Now I will show the other things required for servicing of RO. Yeah, this is TDS meter. Then comes tie band. Then clamps. Clamps like this. These are X clamps. These are X clamps, and these are C clamps. This is C clamp, and these are X clamps. And we will use a tie band to tie all of these filters. And then these are 1x4-inch pipes for connecting different filters, and also for output of residual water into the sink. And then connector, 4 types connectors. This T connector, and then L connectors, and then this straight connector, and then this straight connector with a valve. Then this is spanner or wrench used for pre-filter housing, for opening or closing pre-filter housing. Then pipe cutter. Yeah, this is a pipe cutter. It is this is pipe cutter. If we yes, now this will cut the pipe. Then Teflon tapes. These are Teflon tapes. And then blue lock clips. These are blue lock clips. These are required to fix the pipes with filters properly. Then multimeter. I don't have a multimeter. Multimeter is used for electrical connections. And then these are spun, which are used in pre-filter housing. Spun. I am keeping a spare tap, so that if the tap of my RO breaks down, then I can replace it. And then this is auto cut. This is UF membrane. This is post carbon filter. You can see here flow is written and arrow, which means water will enter from here and exit from here. Then this is pre-filter housing. This is membrane housing in which RO membrane will be placed, and this is RO membrane, and this is inline carbon filter, and this is inline sediment filter. So this is float valve auto cutoff. So in this RO membrane of Kent, you can see this one is pure water outlet, and this one is residual water outlet. And in other company RO in which we can replace RO membrane, you see in Kent RO membrane, it is a sealed product, and we cannot replace RO membrane as we cannot open it. But in RO membranes of other companies, we can replace RO membrane, and we can open this membrane housing. Another thing one has to keep in mind that out of these two, lower one, yeah, this one, This one is pure water outlet and this one is for residual water outlet. And one other thing we have to keep in mind is every time RO membrane is changed, this FRT should also be replaced, because in the course of time calcium gets deposited in FRT, due to which it starts choking. Other important thing we have to keep in mind is we should always pay attention to every time RO is turned on, residual water must also come out from this pipe. And if residual water is not coming out, it simply indicates that FRT is now choke and need to be replaced immediately. This is the RO membrane and these two rings are called as O-rings. And from this part water inlet will take place, and from here outlet will take place. Let's try to understand what is written here using notice. The wet membrane contains some protective liquid in order to avoid the microbiological pollution, and the dry membrane also contains some protective substance, so it should discharge away the produced water at the first hour during the first using. If the protective liquid of the membrane element inadvertently splash into the eyes during the installation, please wash with a lot of water. Should go to see the doctor as soon as possible if you still feel uncomfortable. Once used, please keep the membrane wet. If not used over 1 week, the outlet water in the first hour should be released before using. We advise you take out the membrane element and keep the sealed membrane element in the low temperature, 5 to 10 degree. Membrane housing inner annulus. Okay, pure water outlet. Here we can see wastewater outlet. Membrane housing inner annulus. Airproof circle, RO membrane, feed water inlet. Screw down the cap of the membrane housing when the membrane O-ring correctly inserted in the inner annulus of the housing. Otherwise it would destroy the membrane element. Then membrane housing, it shouldn't exceed about 3 mm. You can see inner annulus, that circle inside. From that circle clean water will pass, and from the hole on the side residual water will pass. Feed water cap of the membrane housing. If the membrane O-ring hasn't correctly inserted in the inner annulus, the inlet of the membrane element would exceed 3 mm. So these O-rings should in the inner annulus. That inner circle is called as inner annulus. So this way we will insert in it, and after that it has to be rotated. Items in the box: Kent Grand Mineral RO, 3-way connector, SS ball valve, food grade pipe blue 1/4 inches, food grade pipe white 3/8 inches, 3 by 8 inch pipe is used for inlet of water from main water supply. Important instructions. In case the purifier is not going to be used for more than 2 days, kindly switch off the power supply and drain the storage tank. To keep the storage tank clean, please drain it once in 15 days. UV fail alarm. The Kent Grand Mineral RO purifier has an inbuilt feature that sounds an alarm if the UV lamp malfunctions. The feature is provided to ensure pure water. The UV fail alarm will sound like as follows: 2 short beeps after every 2 seconds. In case such an alarm is heard, kindly switch off the purifier and call a service technician for help. The purifier will stop its purification process in such circumstances. Filter change alarm. The Kent Grand Mineral RO purifier has an inbuilt feature that sounds an alarm to indicate the replacement time for filters. This alarm will be heard after 700 hours of use since the last filter change or since the time of installation. The filter change alarm will sound as follows: 4 short beeps after every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. The alarm will repeat after every 2 hours of use. In case such an alarm is heard, please call a service technician and request him or her to change the filters of the purifier. However, if the filters are not changed within the next 60 hours of operation, the purifier will stop functioning to ensure purity and hygiene. The following alarm will be audible after 60 hours. A continuous beep for an infinite time. Okay, if filters are not changed, then after 60 hours, continuous beep will be heard. In case such an alarm is heard, kindly switch off the purifier and call the service technician to replace the filters. Maintenance. These 4 have to be replaced: inline sediment filter, carbon filter, RO membrane, post carbon filter, hollow fiber membrane or ultra filter UF membrane, then FRT. If you are not going to use the purifier for a long time, in case you are on a holiday tour or out of home, make sure you disconnect the power supply, turn off the raw water supply and drain the storage tank. Storage tank must be drained once in 2 weeks. To do so, switch off the power supply, open the drain plug at the bottom of the tank and allow the water to drain. Then screw back the plug and switch on the power supply. You can see a screw is there. Then every time we service the RO, we should open this screw and this screw and open this tank and clean the tank. So when this RO membrane will be inserted in this housing, we need to fix it very tightly, and when it will be inserted, these O-rings will fix in inner annulus. A sound of tuck will be observed, like tuck, and Teflon tape should be used here to prevent leakage. Other thing we have to keep in mind is while making connections in the RO, all connections should be made very properly and tightly so that no water leakage is observed. So these two, how to use these 2 rings. One ring will be fixed here and other ring, black one, here, this way. Now let me rectify one thing, that if residual water is not coming out of this pipe, then it would simply mean that this FRT is choke, and due to its choking, residual water will not come out and it will continue to gather in this RO membrane and RO will malfunction in that case. Now if residual water is coming at a high pressure from this pipe, whereas RO takes time, a lot of time in filling the clean water in the tank, then it would mean that RO membrane needs to be replaced. This is one big indication of RO membrane replacement, that if RO membrane has completed its life, then RO will take a lot of time in filling the RO tank with clean water. Now, what is the indication that RO membrane is fitted properly? RO housing, then indication would be that when we insert it and fix it very tightly, these O-rings will fit in the inner annulus, then it will be hard to take it out. So pressure has to be applied while inserting it. Now this is called on off ball valve. This is called T jointer. This is called pipe jointer, and this is called elbow. And one thing we have to keep in mind that whenever we have to use these, we have to apply Teflon tape here to make our connections tight and to prevent leakage. So these are X clamps. This one is bigger, this one is smaller, so these are a pair of two. So three different sizes of X clamps. This is biggest, this is medium, this is smallest. You see, push fit elbow are of two types. One is having this screw, and other is not having screw. The two type push fit elbow. In Kent RO filters, the jointers I ordered online are not fitting both of these jointers. So what I did is I used the jointers which were present in the old filters, because the jointers which I bought online are not fitting into it. But the problem is not present in these UF membrane and post carbon, and the jointers which I ordered online, these elbow jointers are fitting perfectly. So the problem of jointers was only observed in inline sediment filter and carbon filter. You see, this circle is big, this is smaller. This is big, this is smaller. So, RO cabinet. So, first mains water supply. Then from mains water supply, water will go inside pre-filter housing or spun. Pre-filter housing, which is also called as spun. And from here it will go inside sediment filter. And here there will be an SS ball valve for turning on off the water supply. And here LPS or low pressure switch will be there, which will check the pressure of the water, and if the pressure of the water goes low, LPS will not let water go inside the RO. And from sediment filter, solenoid valve. Water will go inside solenoid valve, and solenoid valve checks power supply. If power supply is on, only then it will let RO function. And here I write SMPS, switch mode power supply, which converts AC current into DC current. From solenoid valve, water will go inside booster pump. booster pump or diaphragm. From booster pump, water will go inside inline carbon filter or inline carbon filter. Inline carbon filter, or which is also called as pre-carbon filter. From pre-carbon filter, water will go in two different directions. One part will go inside TDS control valve. Which is also called as needle. And from TDS control valve, water will go inside UF membrane, ultrafiltration membrane. And other part from inline carbon filter will go inside RO membrane. This way. And from RO membrane, water will go inside UV chamber or UV lamp. This UV lamp or UV chamber will be connected with UV choke. And from UF membrane, water will go directly in the UV chamber. And from RO membrane, water will go inside, one part of water will go inside UV chamber and other part will go inside sink via FRT or flow restrictor tube. This sink. And from UV chamber, water will go inside post carbon. Post carbon. Post carbon, and finally from post carbon, water will go inside RO water tank. And there will be a non-return valve, NRT. Non-return valve. Via NRT. So this is how parts in Kent Grand RO are assembled. So we can revise. Inside RO cabinet, water will enter from mains water supply first to pre-filter housing or spun, and there will be an SS valve which will control the flow of the water. Then from pre-filter housing, water will enter sediment filter, but first LPS or low pressure switch will check the pressure of the water supply. SMPS switched mode power supply for converting AC current into DC current, and this sediment filter is used to remove dust and small stones present in the water or sand present in the water. And from sediment filter, water will go inside solenoid valve. Solenoid valve checks power supply. If power supply goes off, solenoid valve will not let water enter the booster pump. From solenoid valve, water will go inside booster pump. Function of booster pump is to maintain water pressure inside RO so that water can move from one part to other part. From booster pump, water will go inside inline carbon filter. Inline carbon filter removes bad smell and bad taste from the water. From inline carbon filter, water will go into different directions. One part will go in TDS control valve. TDS stands for total dissolved solids. And from TDS control valve, water will go inside UF membrane, and other part from inline carbon filter will go inside RO membrane. And so water from inline carbon filter is going in two different directions. One part will go inside RO membrane where water will be cleaned at a very high level. But cleaning water at a very high level is not good for health because it becomes devoid of essential minerals. So TDS control valve, we set TDS, and this ultrafiltration membrane cleans water up to some extent, and then from RO membrane water will go inside UV chamber. In RO membrane, water will be cleaned or purified at a very high level, but limitation of RO membrane is it cannot clean all of the water, and some part of water is left as a residual water which will go inside sink via FRT or flow restrictor tube. From RO membrane, water will go inside UV chamber where germs will be killed. UV means ultraviolet. UV chamber is connected with UV choke. And from here, from UF membrane also, the water which came from inline carbon filter and via TDS which entered in UV membrane, that water will also go inside UV chamber where germs will be killed. And from UV chamber, water will go inside post-carbon filter, and from post-carbon, water will finally go in RO water tank where potable water with essential minerals will be collected, and water from post-carbon to RO water tank will go via NRT. NRT stands for non-return valve. Thank you. So other parts required or for servicing and maintenance of RO: 1. TDS meter to check TDS, then tie band. Clamps may be required, though clamps are already present in RO. 4. Pipe. Two types of pipe are there, 1 by 4 inch and I think 3 by 8 inch. Then connectors, 4 types: L, T, straight, and with small tap or small valve. Then spanner, pipe cutter, then Teflon tape, then blue lock clips, then multimeter. Now we will try to understand the flow of water. Here, flow of water. in Kent Grand Arrow through different filters. Here we will not consider electrical parts of the RO. So from mains water supply, water will go in pre-filter housing. Or which is also called as spun, and from here it will go inside sediment filter. From sediment filter it will go inside inline carbon filter. From inline carbon filter, water will go into different directions. One will be directly in RO membrane. And other part will go inside UF membrane. Via TDS control valve. TDS control. And from UF membrane it will go inside UV chamber. From UV chamber, post carbon. And then finally tank. And with this RO water tank, an auto cut, a float valve, FVAC. FVAC I can write FVAC, float valve auto cutoff. Float valve auto cutoff will be attached. Float valve auto cutoff will be attached with this water tank, which will keep on checking the water level, and if water level is maximum, then it will automatically cut off the RO unit, which means power supply will turn off.